All right, peace, family. Peace. This is Brandon B. Dixon, and you're tuned into the Power of Ownership podcast live. We're coming to you with part 4 of the 48 Laws of Power series, where we discuss the book by Robert Greene, one of my favorites, The 48 Laws of Power. Quick introduction for those who don't know, my name is Brandon B. Dixon. I'm a serial entrepreneur, published author, mortgage broker, 32nd degree Scottish Rite Freemason, community activist, and so on and so forth. This podcast, we talk about not only ownership of businesses and running corporations and ownership of intellectual properties and rental properties, so on and so forth, but we talk about ownership of the mind, body, and soul. I'm going to let Stephen go ahead and introduce himself, and then let's get cracking into it.
Yeah, I'm Stephen Contreras, geologist here in Houston, Texas. I'm a 32nd degree Scottish Rite Mason, Renaissance man, community activist. Just trying to make the world a better place, So
Right.
Trying to help educate people one small step at a time. And this is what we do on this podcast. Try to get you guys to think outside the box, try to help better yourself, better your life. And that's all I have to say about it.
Right. And one of the things that we're doing, we're providing these working tools that get you there. One of the work tools is my book, Sales, the Nucleus of Any Profession. It's out right now on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. Get this if you want to learn how to sell and learn how to market. This is a book that's necessary, right on time if you want to learn how to navigate through this new economy, this new side hustle gig economy. So this is right on point. You could have all the energy you want in the world. You have the best ideas in the world, but if you can't sell, you're cutting almost more than half of your results.
That was Nikola Tesla's problem. He
couldn't sell. Yeah,
couldn't sell.
A lot of great minds can't sell, but a lot of you don't have the working tools. A lot of times, a lot of people, most salespeople wing it. They don't have a script. They don't have a roadmap, and that's what this gives you. So check this out. Yeah. Let's get into it. We've been breaking down the 48 Laws of Power. It's part 4 now. We're going to go over Rule 10, Law 10 and 11, right?
12.
No, 11 and 12, right?
Yeah, 11 and 12.
11 and 12 today. Let's get right in it. Learn to keep the people dependent on you. Rule 11, Law 11, should I say.
This one's pretty straightforward, right?
Somewhat. I'll tell you again, what I like to do is I like to, when I first read the book about 17 years ago, I like to tell you my mind frame then and what I'm thinking, how I'm matured and what I'm thinking now. What I was thinking back then when I first read it, my cousin and I, is that keep secrets, withhold information, that way, never give up everything. That way, people are dependent on you for the rest of the equation. Now, keep in mind, this was pre-YouTube days. This was really like high-speed internet. Back then, it was like
dial-up, right?
Dial-up and all that stuff. So information was not readily available. So now, with information being readily available, a person could Google or YouTube a lot of information.
Pretty much anything, right?
And come up with their own conclusions. So what you do with that, how I changed it a little bit, I tweaked it a little bit, is not monetizing your information. Meaning that, all right, information is going to be out there, but you have to build your brand. You have to build yourself up as the authority, and then monetize that information, be the first to market with it.
I get what you're saying. So you're pretty much telling the audience, right? Like you need our YouTube videos to learn. Like this is how you're getting your source of information and things like that. Right. Like when we watch a YouTube video or a TV show or read a series of books, we start becoming dependent on those things.
Right. You got to kind of be the first to market with it nowadays. Mm-hmm. And then learn to monetize it and make money off of it then. Because information is going to spread, it's going to get shared.
Yeah, so hit that like button while you guys are listening to us right now.
So that's kind of how it's changed a little bit. You have to be the authority on what you're talking about. So even though on the book, the back of my book, we was talking about the last episode. It says you can't argue with results.
Yeah, it's true.
See how
it's one of the rules.
Right. It's the residue of the 48 laws of power is even in my writing. It's in my subconscious now. So that's how much these laws have to be embedded in you. So as far as bringing it back to keeping the people dependent on you, now that I, made myself the guru in sales, now you're building your brand, building your audience. Now people are going to be looking at you to embellish on what you're talking about, to keep on going. And, and people, it's become more and more compartmentalized.
Yeah. And that's just the nature of things. Now it's like everyone has their own lane to stick to.
Right.
And that's the best way to maximize your success and be able to market it yourself.
Right. So keep people dependent on you by not necessarily withholding the information. You're giving the information, but you're monetizing on that information. You're building your brand, and you're becoming the authority on whatever you're.
And that's the great thing about this book is because, like, no matter where you are in your life, when you start reading it, rereading it, like your opinions change. Like it goes from, man, this law feels kind of dirty, but then if you know how to spin it positively, you can use it to your advantage.
Right. Correct. So that's pretty much on that. I mean, build up your brand, become the authority on whatever you're doing, nails, hair, beards, whatever.
Yeah, it's up to you to do it, right?
Right. So law number 12, use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. All right. So with that one back then, as far as the mind frame I was in back then, again, it almost was piggybacking number 12. I mean, the number 11.
I think that's why he writes them back to back with these two.
So I would withhold information, only give you 3/4 of the pie, and leave you dependent on the 1/4. And sometimes I still do that to this day. This depends on how. I had one time, a referral partner of mine. I taught myself how to graphic design on YouTube, and I started designing the Power of Ownership newsletter. In fact, go to thepowerofownership.org if you want to sign up for the newsletter. It comes out monthly.
And where can they find our merchandise?
Yeah, that's what I forgot. We'll go over that at the end of the show.
Make sure you guys get some though.
Right. So, but I started designing the Power of Ownership newsletter, and we talked about the software. Like, well, what type of software are you using? No, I'm not giving you the software. That way you can cut me completely out the equation. So you never want to do that. So
that's what you call stupid.
Right. So you still keep people dependent on you. It depends on what level. But using selective honesty, I don't really do that. But I do use generosity to disarm. I don't like the word victim. I like the word frenemies. And what I mean by that, I'll give you an example. There was this sales manager at Gallery Furniture. I was a sales trainer, corporate sales trainer. And, he was super jealous. He was number 10, unhappy and unlucky, worked there for 30 years, so on and so forth. And this was jealous of me at all times because I came in and got a position and, and was kind of in charge of training all the salespeople. So I knew that my mentor trusts anything he says. So if he could make up something, I use the cop stance, which I talked about the previous episode. I make it hard for you to shoot at me. So go check that out. I used that analogy in the last episode. So I used the cop stance, so it's hard to shoot at me. But I knew if he made something up, that my mentor would believe him. So what I used to do, I knew that he liked Monster energy drinks. So twice a week, I would buy him $3 for $5, $3 for $5 Monster energy drinks. So my generosity made it hard for him to.
He doesn't know how to handle it.
Right. It's hard for him to make something up and throw me in the grease. So yeah, you use that to disarm. So now I made it hard for him again. I made it even harder for you to shoot at me.
It's like make peace, not war, right?
Right.
So you always want to. The expression is killing them with kindness, right? And or generosity in this case, is when you have people who don't like you, you always want to use kindness and generosity. You always want to send those positive vibrations to them, because it's like shocking them with cold water. They don't understand how to handle it. They get so freaked out by it. It's like they're about to melt, because like it's so unexpected. It's a way of the peaceful warrior too. You always want to show that generosity, that love, the peace. There's so much energy wasted on just trying to like actually trying to like fight somebody or use rage, anger. This law specifically says generosity is how you disarm the people who are trying to trip you up. Right. And that's how you have to do it. It's just peace and love always.
Well, this love vibrates at a way higher frequency than fear, which is the parent of all the rest of the negative emotions. Mm-hmm. So that higher vibration breaks up, it disrupts the negative vibration. So it's hard to recover. So it's hard to, I'll give you an example. If somebody calls into your establishment having a bad day, how much harder is it if I have a positive, good morning, thank you for calling such and such, it's a great day, and how are you doing today?
It's like, oh, how are you doing today?
Right. So it's harder to, that positive, it's harder to overcome. It's harder to dagger or go through that. You're going to have to go around it in order for that to be successful. So by you giving that positivity, and I talk about this in the book, the first chapter, that's how you sell. That's the nucleus. That's one of the core fundamentals of sales. But I'm not going to get, tune into the seminars and the webinars for that, but
check out our earlier videos. We go into it too.
So that's one of the core things, if you could disarm them, it humanizes you, and unless you're a sociopath, it's hard to overcome that. It's in our DNA. It's in our genes. So you disarm them, they get taken back. When they get taken back, now you got a chance to gather yourself, and they got to gather their thoughts, and they got to try to remount that negativity. They got to try to build that anger back up. And it's that by that time you already won. You already won. Yeah. So again, we're not going to keep you too long. We wanted these to be about 10 minutes so you could, get a couple of nuggets and chew and digest those. Get the merch, man. The merch is available now. Go to my Instagram at Billionaire Loan Officer. Click on the link. Buy the merch. God is a Verb t-shirts are out now. Going to be available for like 20 more days.
Okay.
So again, God is a verb, and personal responsibility is your only savior. Yeah. Then I'm going to say peace.
Peace.